News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Is there a way to fight those rising county tax assessments? Also, how long do you have to work at a job before you can apply for a mortgage and buy a home? We also have a series of problems with area condo associations that we will discuss. And there's a new Zillow quiz we're going to give you that will see if you know what features to improve in your home to make the most money when you decide to sell. Hi, everybody. Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team here at Remax Properties. Thank you for joining us and with us to the top of the hour. Two great folks here. I am proud to present Chuck Crosby, who is the owner of the Crosby Law Office. They do a phenomenal job, just great, of getting their loan closed or real estate closing. Plus, Chuck does a great job on wills and powers of attorney, foreclosure defense, commissioner sale, and a whole lot more. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. Also here, Randy Rocky, who is one of the head guys at Swan Financial. And Swan does a great job of shopping your loan to get you the very best interest rate on your mortgage. And you can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you are thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. There's no home too big. There's no home too small. I work both in Louisville, surrounding counties, and in southern Indiana. And you can reach me a couple of ways. You can call 376-5483. That translates into 376 Live, which is easy to remember. And also bobsellslouisville.com is another way. Go online and fill out the form, send it, and I will call you. And then if you want a free instant analysis of what your home is worth, it's computerized, but it's a start. You can reach my system by going to WeSellLouisville.com and clicking on the top of the page. All right. A reminder, by the way, you can see a rebroadcast of this show with all, not only the audio, but the video as well by going to LouisvilleAnswer.com. This first question is to Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Offices. And Chuck, Beth wants to sell her condo. In fact, she's got it listed for sale by owner. And actually, she met with me this past week and wanted to know what she should do. Specifically, she read the notes recently from a condo association meeting that says they're considering a roof replacement in the next couple of years. And of course, she's worried about the assessment, the costs, and more importantly, does she have to disclose now that she knows that there may be a roof assessment, even if there has not been any decision? Chuck, this is an interesting problem.
It is. With this, the first thing I try to keep in mind is if it's the roof on a condo, well, the condo association is going to pay for it. Now, if it costs more than the condo association has in its coffers, they will then file an assessment against the residents because it is, after all, resident money. The thing is, the way I look at it, if there's been a meeting, there's been a vote, and they've decided to do it, then you definitely need to disclose that. Okay. If it's kind of up in the air, well, I'd still probably disclose it because I'm all for disclosing when there's any question. In my mind, if you don't know whether you should disclose it or not, you ought to disclose it.
Mm. That's it.
But
It's an honest concept,
yeah,
but that
but
also leads a lot of people up in the air as to what do we do, even if we're just
exactly.
discussing it.
Well, discussing it is one thing. You're always discussing with a condominium whether, when the roofs need to be replaced. Shoot, the condo that I'm on the board of, we have a 25-year reserve plan. We've already discussed what we're going to be doing 25 years from now. I don't know that that necessarily needs to be disclosed. But if it's something that's coming up, if bids have been taken, if there's been a vote and it's in the minutes of the board
Docs,
meeting.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
If it's in the minutes
Hmm.
and then something comes up and you don't disclose it, something comes up later, then those things are discoverable.
Hmm.
That's all going to be public record right there. And then it can provide a fair amount of evidence to a subsequent buyer that perhaps the seller did not disclose something of importance.
All right, but I would need to be very specific because I know she's listening to the show. They discussed it. There was no vote. There was no decision. They have not taken bids. But based on the minutes that she forwarded to me, and I sent them over to you to review.
Yeah, I looked at those. It looked to me
Mm.
like there had been a vote. It specifically said they had voted to do it.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, in
That's the
that
key.
case,
Yep.
while I can't give legal advice to specific individuals at this
Right.
juncture, if presented with the hypothetical as I have been,
Right.
that there's been a vote, they've decided to do it, they've taken bids, The only thing left to decide is which bid they're going to take.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
probably something that ought to be disclosed.
And if you want to sleep at night, the answer is
Yeah.
disclose on any
Well,
issue like that. Yeah.
if I were to buy the place and
Hmm.
then, next year I find out there's a $15,000 assessment
Hmm.
because there wasn't enough money in the reserve funds, well, I'm not going to be happy. And I'm going to talk to somebody who's going to say, oh, yeah, we voted on that a year ago. So,
Yeah. All right. Good. And folks, while we're talking about this, because we've talked about similar items about condos on the air in past years, if you're thinking of buying a condo, you want to look at not only minutes, but also to find out what the reserves are. And this is kind of a newer one, and the status of any legal action with regards to balconies,
mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, because there are issues with a lot of condos throughout the country where the balconies were not installed correctly. There's problems and there's been deferred maintenance. And so if you, what I would suggest, you hire an inspector when you, even if it's a condo, hire an inspector and specifically ask, can you assess the condo balcony and what status it is? Because that could give you a clearer picture of what you might be up against. I know of somebody who ended up getting assessed, I think it was 15,000 or more
Yeah.
for each condo for a new balcony. And
Right.
it's happening.
And
Yeah.
in a lot of cases, home inspectors won't touch that question because that's
Mhm.
more of an engineer, a
Mhm.
structural engineer's assessment. But in each of the condos that I'm familiar with, there have been structural engineers who have made determinations. And you know, but yeah, you can't get loans on a lot of those places, and
That's right. That's why I bring that up. That you
yeah,
Mhm.
because mortgage companies know about the problems.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're looking exactly for it. Even had one come through recently that was a cash deal, and they were buying the ground floor. So there's no balcony issue with the ground floor, but still, you're a part of the co-owners of the entire condominium, so you'd still be assessed. It just, yeah,
It's becoming more of a problem too.
It
yeah.
really is as a
Yes.
aging of
Well, and
the
it's not going to
Yes.
get any better because it's
right.
time and maintenance and yeah.
Okay. We'll move on. A reminder, you can hear a rebroadcast and see it going to LouisvilleAnswers.com. Also, hey, if you get a chance, head over to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. I just put up a new video from at a closing with some clients, some great people, and they explain one really good reason why if you're going to hire an agent, you may want to stay away from one of the discount brokers. I'll leave it at that. Again, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. This question goes to Randy Rocky at Swan Financial. Nancy has been barely scraping by year to year without a job. She just finally landed a dream job, and she is wondering how long does she have to work at this job in order to be able to purchase a new home? Randy Rocky.
Well, if she has had less than a 6 month employment gap, all I need is a commitment letter. I don't need the first pay stub. If it's above 6 months, it gets a little tricky, but most of the time I can still do that. So actually, she doesn't even have to start working there as long as I get a commitment letter on what her salary is. Is she part or full time? Obviously, she would have to be full time, and then we can get an approval from there. And I've closed many homes without somebody actually starting work.
So, Randy, just real quickly, a commitment letter, explain, is that coming from her boss?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, from the employer. Yes, a commitment letter saying, "Hey, she's gonna start at this date. Here's her salary. She's a full-time employee."
And an HR department would serve as well if it's coming from
Yes,
them for the
yes,
company? Okay. All
that's
right.
correct.
Very good. A reminder, you can see what our clients are saying about us. We're proud of our reviews. It's important before you do anything, buy anything, hire anybody. You want to see what the reviews look like. So if you'd like to see ours, we make it easy. Go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. Our reviews are there for you to see. Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Office. Patrick lives in a condominium complex with all the recent rains. He noticed a leak in the ceiling of the top floor of his condo where the fireplace and chimney is. And he's notified the condo association of the problem. But after a week, no one has gotten back to him. Patrick is wondering in this email, how long should he give the condo association to respond to him? And if they don't respond to him, what action should he be taking?
Okay. Well, there's actions to be taken, depending on whether or not there's a property management company. A lot of these condos, they have a board of directors, but they basically let the management company do everything. There's a bunch of management companies here in town. Personally, I'd let it go a day
Mm.
with before somebody gets back with me and says, "Hey, we're doing it." Otherwise, I'm going to be on the phone calling every single person on the board and calling the property management companies just to make sure nobody, misses out. The fact is, you're going to have some damage that's going to be on your dime to take care of. Typically, the roof, definitely condo association. But once it gets into the roof and then it comes into the ceiling,
Mm.
well, then things start getting murky. What does the condo association pick up from there? Is it going to be the drywall? Is it going to be the paint? A lot of condos typically, if the roof leaks and it damages the drywall, well, they'll repair the drywall, but they'll leave the painting up to you.
Uh-huh.
That kind of thing. So I wouldn't give it any time, really. You put it in. If nobody responds, you get right back to it. I wouldn't wait a week or 2 weeks or whatever. I'd be on it the next day. Now, if they still don't do anything,
Uh-huh.
well, that's when you get yourself an attorney to send them the nasty attorney letter saying, "Hey, this needs to be done." Now, that I might give a little bit of time. Let them respond and make sure that you've given them an opportunity to do their job. But yeah, it's the condo association's duty to keep these things fixed. If they don't do their duty, then that's why God created lawyers and courts.
So, and just to refresh here, so you're saying a day to and contact not only the management company but also the condo association at the same
I'd
time?
start with the management company if there is one,
Uh-huh.
and then I would be on them like white on rice. Um, if that doesn't work, then I'd go to the board members. The board members are your neighbors. They're
Uh-huh.
going to have similar issues, and they frequently don't know what's going on with the management company. You don't want to bug them day and night because, like I said, A, they're neighbors, and B, honey and vinegar and flies and all that.
Yeah.
But if the management company isn't doing what it's supposed to do, well, then get with the board member. I know at our condo association, if our property management company isn't doing something, you can bet we're going to get an
Hmm.
email or a text because everybody knows everybody. We're all friends. We see each other walking dogs. And if Ed says, "Hey, I've got this problem," and nobody's calling me about it, you can bet I'm going to be calling the property management company and saying, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Hmm. Good. That's great information. And I know a lot of people who I told you we had a lot of questions about
Mhm.
condos, and we just it just happened this way. So when we come back, folks, we're going to ask Randy and Chuck also to participate in a new quiz, and you can play along at home or in your car, a Zillow quiz about what features actually add value and which don't to your home if you're thinking about improving it or making some changes. And a reminder, you can see this show and watch it as well by going to LouisvilleAnswers.com. Also, you can find out what your home is instantly worth by heading over to WeSellLouisville.com and entering the information, clicking on the top of the page. Continuing with us after the break, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They do a great job shopping your loan. And Randy's a great stand-up guy. You can reach him at 6450736. Also continuing with us, Chuck Crosby. He's the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. They do a great job of getting the loan closed. They really do dot the I and cross the T. You've heard of that. They make sure that it's done correctly. But he also does a lot of other things, including wills, powers of attorney, and more. You want to reach Chuck at his number, and that's 499-6360. Randy's number, 6450736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. You can reach me by phone at 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show. We are here with you till the top of the hour, and continuing with us, Chuck Crosby, the head guy over at the Crosby Law Offices. They do a great job of getting your loan closed. He's very efficient, and he's a great guy, too. And he makes the closing very easy on your brain. Just explains what you need to know, and you get right through it. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. Also, continuing with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They do a great job of getting you the best rate for your loan, and you can reach Randy at 6450736. Thinking of selling now or in the future? I'd love to help you. It's me. You call me and I come out. It's free. There's no obligation. You can also pick my brain on what needs to be done, what what doesn't need to be done, things like that. I work both in the Louisville and surrounding areas and Southern Indiana. You can reach me at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Well, there is a new Zillow quiz out. If you're planning to fix up your home, or you're planning and want to do some improvements to resell, you might want to know what actually is better for you to do. So, Randy, Chuck, we're going to get you involved in here. And folks, again, you can play at home. The first one is, which feature could help you sell your home for more money? In fact, 2.2% more. And on a $100,000 home, that's $2,200. That's not bad. Which feature? A rock garden, a pot filler for a stove, dog door, or keyless entry to your house? Gentlemen, Randy and Chuck.
I'm going to go with keyless entry. Uh,
Yep. Okay. You don't
because
have to
I
explain.
hate pot fillers. I hate the pot fillers.
Keyless entry. Chuck, thank you. Randy, you're up.
I'll go with rock garden.
Okay. While all these features are nice to have, the pot filler came out on top. Whether you feel like
I hate those.
sorry you hate those. Sorry, they're functional, they're a necessity or a luxury item. It ranks number 17 in the list of Zillow for features that help sell a home for more money. So remember that. A pot filler. If you're building a new home, the builder says, you want to put a pot filler in here? They may be yes. All right, next. How much does a soapstone countertop typically add to the value of a home? So I'll give you options: 1.3%, 3.5%, 4.2%, or 110%.
No idea what a sandstone is.
A soapstone. Soapstone counter. So it's like granite. It's
I've never heard of it either.
I don't know if it's better or not.
So it's a quarried stone.
So it's real stone.
It's a quarried stone. Yeah, it's in the ground. Yeah. Are you going with a soapstone? It sounds
No,
like
I got
you don't
quartz.
know. Quartz.
Yeah, I got quartz.
All right. So how much do they increase in value? Anybody want to take a guess?
1.3.
1.3. Chuck, you want to grab?
I'll go with that.
All right. So remember this. 3.5% is what a soapstone will bring in a higher sales price. It translates to about $12,500 more for homes that mention soapstone in the listing description. And that's a really important part. Little details like that in a listing description, they make a big difference, which is why the agent that you hire needs to know what items to put in there that hit the hot buttons of the buyers that are looking at your listing. All right, true or false, an outdoor shower can drag down the price of a home. True or false, guys?
I'd say false.
Yeah, I'll say false.
False?
Yeah.
The answer is, well, with all the time spent outdoors, buyers appear to like the idea of outdoor showering. So it's false. It does actually help you with your price. In fact, Zillow says it will add 2.8% to the purchase price of a home. Yeah, how about that? All right, we'll go one more. Which type of patio material commands the highest premium? Is it stamped concrete, bluestone, red brick? Pick from those three. Patio.
What was that middle one?
Bluestone.
I had Pennsylvania bluestone in my house. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
While patios can be made of many materials, gentlemen, ladies, bluestone, large flat stones,
it's gorgeous,
in a bluish and gray tones are popular with buyers. In fact, buyers who will pay 2.2% of a premium for a home that features it in their listing. So those words count. That buyers will flock to that, the 2.2% of the time.
So can I get it added to the top of my concrete patio?
Well, I don't know that you can't.
Yes,
you
you
on
can.
top of it, but you're going to raise the level of your patio. So if you have a door that opens, it's going to be a problem, though.
But mine opens out onto a deck and then onto. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful. Pennsylvania bluestone. Yes. Yes.
I'll take a look at that.
All right. Good. Well, I hope you've learned something here, folks. Hopefully, Chuck and Randy already knew the bluestone, but hopefully you didn't. We'll do more of this down the road.
Well, question for you, Bob. Yeah. If I were looking to buy a house, you're my agent, and it says this soapstone on the first one. Would you be explaining to me what the devil that is?
Not only would I explain it to you, but as your agent, I would actually go online, pull some data along with pictures of what it looks like so that you, as the buyer, knows, more importantly, has a feel for what it would look like in the home. Yeah, before you went out and saw it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. All right, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. This one comes to you. Michael wants to buy a home here in Louisville. And in this email, he says it has been 10 years since he purchased his current home. And he's wondering, how much does he need for a down payment? And we know a lot of people think 20%, but Randy, you're going to tell us that's incorrect.
Right. You can do as little as 0% down. Just the interest rate usually is about a half a point more than if you put 3 or 3.5% down.
That's credit dependent, right? You've got it.
Right, of
Yeah,
course, credit dependent. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
It's really important to credit dependent. So, yeah, so
yes.
and that's good. Just what you want to do is shop the loans. And again, I recommend Randy will give out his number in just a little bit if you are interested in learning more. Chuck Crosby, Crosby Law Office. Tony has a problem with his condo association. Again, I told you folks, condos. Because of the amount of problems with decks in the condo complex, the association changed the rules and conditions, saying they will no longer be responsible for repairing or replacing decks. Tony, as you might expect, as well as others who live in this complex, are not happy with that decision. And he's wondering in this email that he wrote us, what are the steps in getting the condo association to reverse that decision and be responsible for repairing or replacing decks? Chuck.
Well, the first thing I'd look at is the rules, regulations, and what are they able to do in regards to amending these things. Because if they didn't go through and make that change correctly, well, then they're still responsible for it. Okay, and there are some condos that can do that easily, and there are some that may not necessarily be so easily done. That'd be the first thing I'd look at. The second thing, if they've absolutely made that decision and they made it properly, my bet is there's not a whole lot you can do to make them change their minds. If they did it and they're not going to change their minds and they did it improperly, well, again, that's why God created lawyers and courts to get involved. But failing all that, the folks who make the changes are elected. It's just like in our country. You don't like the way it's going, get your people elected. I'm betting that if he's upset about this, he's not the only one. And in that case, you just find out what it takes to have a quorum and get that group together.
That's the answer that I was going to go for as well.
Yeah, yeah. You
Get
change the leadership.
the existing board out of there and get a new one in that is more favorable with what you're hoping to get changed.
Yeah, and that's always the easiest way to do it, to tell you the truth. Most condo associations will have an attorney who represents them as to how to operate. So they're not going to, run afoul of changing the rules too easily. Although I've got to tell you, I've seen some that have done that. Some that, I mean, just straight up violated the law, and they made the change and they weren't going to go back. And it's like, okay, guys, look, you can either make the change or I'm going to let, the Commission for Human Rights and a few other places know what you're doing. And then, the people who are aggrieved aren't going to have to spend any money to get the CHR on you. I mean, it just, you just never know. But I'd always look at the rules first and then start canvassing the neighborhood for a vote.
And for people who are in your camp and then campaign to get them elected.
Well, yeah.
Right.
And I've got to think that they aren't going to go to all the trouble to make the change if there isn't a lot of this particular problem arising. And if that's the case, well, it may be enough people to get involved.
We move on, and a quick reminder that if you'd like to see some of the videos that we produce, and we do a lot of videos, we simply tell you there's a simple way to do that. Go to LouisvilleHomesTV.com. That's LouisvilleHomesTV.com. There's a lot of our videos there. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Christopher wants to know in this email something that I think a lot of people maybe want to know. What is PMI? And does Christopher and others have to pay it? It's
Yes.
their letters are for what? Private mortgage insurance, right?
Private mortgage insurance, and usually it's FHA. You have to basically pay at the life of the loan. On conventional is when you get actually at 78% loan to value, is when if you don't get a new appraisal. So your loan, let's say it's 100,000, you go to 78,000, then your private mortgage insurance would come off. But you can buy it out, which happens very little. So what it is, it's an extra charge that doesn't go towards your principal or interest or anything. And the reason that they have PMI on a property is people don't put 20% down, and there's more risk involved. So then they have a private mortgage insurance pool. So if they do have a foreclosure issue, then they go into that and use part of that for when they have foreclosure problems.
Yep. Christopher, one other little caveat to this for other folks who already are paying PMI, you want to check and make sure. As you approach 20% equity in the house, you yourselves want to initiate a search to find out if you can get the PMI removed, right, Randy? Because
Very well said.
yeah,
Yes.
the loan officer, well, the mortgage companies don't do this on their own because they're
No,
making some extra
they're not
cash.
volunteering that. Right.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so folks, if you're paying PMI and you've been in your house, how many years, Randy? What should we say, Randy?
Well, I mean, obviously during COVID, it was crazy. If you bought a house before 2021, you're paying PMI and it's not an FHA loan, you should absolutely be able to get out of PMI.
Yeah, especially with the way homes have increased in value.
Yes.
So start the process by contacting the mortgage company and seeing what needs to be done and follow the procedures. And hopefully we can save people paying your PMI on a monthly basis. Well, our little alarm tells us we are out of time. It went quick. It really did. My thanks to Chuck Crosby, who is one of the head guys. Actually, he is the main guy over at the Crosby Law Office. Of course, his wife would probably differ with that. Sherry would tell you I'm the head person,
Oh,
but
is that what she sounds like? I'm going
no.
to play this back for her so she can hear.
Sorry, Sharon. No, I'm the head person. Yeah, no, she's a sweet lady, and you can reach Chuck at any time for real estate closings, wills, which are so important, and more. 499-6360 is his office number. Also, my thanks to Randy Rocky, who is one of the head persons, guys over at Swan Financial. They do a great job shopping your loan. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you are thinking of selling your home now or in the future or buying a home, I've got a team, but it's me when it comes to selling your home. I'd love to come out free, no obligation analysis. You can reach me on my cell phone, 376-5483, which translates into 376 Live, or go to bobsellslouisville.com and fill out the information, hit submit. And then again, remember, for a free, no obligation analysis of what your home is worth, it's computer, it's a start. You can go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page. A reminder, next week, something interesting that I don't know that we've tackled in a while, laundry mistakes that you are probably, and I'm probably making every day when we do laundry. That's it. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.